all the Texas media, any and all things Texas. This Kendrick Lamar, everybody talking about it. It's a conversation, so we'll talk about it. A lot of times when you think over certain events, you want to look at things in the context of the moment, of the times, of the generation, and you want to consider what has been, what was, what is, what is to come, and you want to consider what worked. And I'm a believer of consulting with the ancestors. The ancestors have spoken, and they have shared their general indifference at best to Kendrick Lamar and his halftime message, subliminal or otherwise. You know, the ancestors make music too. They had their own platforms and distribution channels, and everybody talked about a message that was sent. They sent their own messages. They sent messages with clear instructions.
But the enslaved men and women took this new language and created their own spirituals, songs that often contain coded meanings, bringing messages of hope and sometimes visions of escape.
Roll, Jordan, roll, Jordan, roll, Jordan, roll.
Practical wisdom for application.
Roll, Jordan, roll. Jordan was what? A river you had to cross. Okay, that could have been what? The Mississippi River, the Tennessee River, crossing into a better place. Old Satan was the slave master. Hell was being what sold further south.
So in spite of the fact that the words were actually biblical, their meanings were very personal.
Word says the spirit is discerned by the spirit. The ancestors had spirit, and they moved by the spirit, were led by the spirit, and that spirit is still sharing its guidance with us today, if we choose to listen. And I want to say that I am very proud and happy for Kendrick Lamar for this for him to be able to have that opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl. I mean, that's a dream come true. So, in that aspect, I'm thrilled for the guy. I absolutely am. I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar since. Yeah, I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar since what, 2010, I think. And I think he made his best. He made his best music with BJ the Chicago Kid, Section 80. And his best real commercial album was his first album, Good Kid, Mad City. That was the one. Damn was good. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into all that. And when I talk about the spirit, to go back, that's a conversation for another day. If you don't understand what I mean by the spirit, if you don't choose to believe in the unseen and the wisdom that is embedded in the unseen, That's not a conversation for right now. But anyway, I want to go through some of these posts. I just like to go through social media and read people's opinions, so or read people's takes. Well, this one was watch this video.
Growing up in grade school in the Bronx. And I vaguely remember what it was about. It was something that was promised enslaved people. I can't remember whether I was told it was before or after emancipation, but it had to do with the Civil War. And I've since had my memory refreshed. And it was something that the federal government promised enslaved people that they would get, and it would help them get a head start. But as with many promises given to Native Americans, they didn't come through. And I never really equated 40 acres in a mule because it was not something that really ever touched my life. But in thinking about it this morning, I never really equated it with something else that was very important to American life, which was the Homestead Act. Now, if you don't recall the Homestead Act, for some reason, there's a lot of American history that that really stayed with me. And the Homestead Act was an act that the federal government felt was extremely important because they wanted to populate the Midwestern part of our country, the prairie. And so they offered 160 acres free and clear to people who...
Okay, let me stop that right there. So, the actual post I was reading when she was talking, this young lady, she wrote, I thought this was funny. A typical halftime performance would have been tone deaf to the potential constitutional cries that we are facing right now. I'm pleased that he used his platform to educate through art rather than for distraction. And she's talking about how it has people going down rabbit holes, studying history, having conversations, and becoming enlightened. Now, shout out to the old lady for acting like a sympathizer. That's good. What kind of check you gonna write, young lady? Lady. What kind of check you gonna write? What kind of lobbying you gonna put together? What kind of organization you gonna create? So, man, everybody just talking, man. And hey, I'm talking too. We're all talking. And I'm not to digress, but there's this misnomer. I don't want to get too off on a tangent, but there's this misnomer that the revolution will be televised. The revolution shouldn't be televised. Okay. We the whole thing about a message. I'm very much alarmed by people who need to receive a message from a halftime show. I'm very aware of platforms and the gravity of them. And the fact that she said is educate through art rather than distraction. It was all a distraction. It's all a distraction. People are having discussions, posting their analysis, and coming together. Coming together for what? It's beautiful. All right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. Not to be critical. Not to be critical, because I mean, conversations are important, but it gets very tiresome to just talk. It does. It's yeah. Let's continue to see what this lady's talking about.
Would farm the land, ranch the land. I guess it was really only good for farming, but they would give free and clear 160 acres to people, and they had mapped out a huge swath of prairie land. And it was white people who took that land, and that's how a lot of our Midwest cities came into being. And they didn't rescind that promise. They gave 160 acres to people free and clear. All they had to do was stake it out. And this may be apocryphal, but I seem to remember in class hearing how there was a date and they had people lining up and they set off a bell and you could just go and stake out your plot of land and it was yours and you could farm it. And that was the beginning of generational wealth for a lot of white people. A lot of these people came from Germany and Middle European countries, and they got a stake in this country. And here we have enslaved people who were brought over against their will and finally released from bondage and promised for their servitude they would be given 40 acres and a mule, and they got nothing. And they had to start from scratch. Just a thought. Think about that. Think about how you'd feel if that promise was.
Yeah, I mean that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Helen. Appreciate it. Thank you for telling us what a lot of us already knew. Not again, not to be critical. Everybody comes into understanding, learning, knowledge at different points in their life. Stuff I've been knowing, but that's just me. That's not to put myself into the conversation. Been knowing about this, but forward thinking, we talk solutions or we don't talk at all. And back to what I was saying before, a lot of the real conversations that we need to have in Black America needs to be behind closed doors, free of microphones, cameras, devices, surveillance, as much as to the degree that it can be, that can happen. There's always somebody watching, but you understand what I mean. Yeah, I appreciate him and his art. I really do. I think he's dope. But I hate to be critical. I hate to be critical of an artist because he is an artist. He has a place in hip hop, and I'm not critical of him being able to perform at that Super Bowl. I really think it should have been Wayne, just for the pure entertainment. It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. It's all entertainment anyway. Even the conversation that we're having about the message really is a distraction because we're not talking about that. Again, actions, but that's another conversation. Just purely just on the performance. He's a dope MC, and they put together as much of a performance, I guess, as they could for him. I'm always of the critical opinion. You gotta be very careful with rap. Rap just, for me, in a critical sense, just doesn't always convey in live performances. Rap conveys in live performances in intimate settings when there's like nostalgia involved, when there's memories involved, when there's camaraderie and brotherhood, when you in a community of people are brought together by the admiration, the love of certain artists, certain time, certain music, kind of music. That's dope. For the masses, there needs to be a lot more. There's a lot of people that didn't and couldn't relate to Kendrick Lamar, but there's people who are smarter than I am as far as in marketing, as far as market research, and so, and then the fact that performers, as much as the information is out there that we know, as far as we know, it's noted that performers have to pay the Super Bowl or the NFL to perform. So you can't lose in that situation. Can't lose. Not like they've made an investment in him. If he's paying them, they've made an investment to a degree of hosting for him to perform. But if he's paying to perform, that's you can't lose. And so. And you can't appease everyone. You're not going to appease the masses. Always going to be a line of opposition. But for pure performance, I think Manny Fresh and Juvie and Wayne would have rocked that Joker. If it wasn't about the location. If it wasn't about the location, then every other aspect of the entertainment would not have been pertaining to New Orleans. You can't tell me otherwise. Every other aspect of it was New Orleans culture, Louisiana culture. But the magnum opus, the main event, the halftime show, is somebody from California who didn't perform none of his real best known stuff. Like Kendrick Heads was rocking, I know it. I like Kendrick, but I wouldn't not consider myself a Kendrick head. And I always pride myself on being someone who was early to the party, so I can self-proclaim that I discovered Kendrick, at least for anybody that I know. I was rocking with Kendrick back in 2011, and I will maintain I think he did some of his best music with BJ Chicago Kid. They should make like a whole album together, but I digress. Shout out to Kendrick, man. He's a young black boy living out his dreams. Excuse me. I thought this was interesting though, as far as tying it to Texas, how we have everything looming over the performance was the diss or the addressing the Drake situation, performing They Not Like Us, of course, and of course the lawsuit. Found this article, cron.com, credit to them. This little tidbit is what I want to just kind of throw out there as a footnote to the part of Texas being always in some kind of footnote in stories and pop culture and happenings in the world. We know Drake filed. Drake is a resident of Texas, and he's filed his petition, his lawsuit in different states. It reads such: the rapper's Texas petition sought to determine whether UMG participated in a pay-per-click scheme to promote Not Like Us with iHeartMedia, the parent company of iHeartRadio, which is based in San Antonio. I knew that. Did you know that? Just another petition. San Antonio, Texas, heart of Texas, always in the middle of something. The petition also accused iHeartMedia and UMG of intentionally harming Drake's reputation. So that's what the grounds, the basis of Drake's notable lawsuit is about. He recently withdrew his New York complaint to prepare for an actual lawsuit against UMG, but the rapper's Texas complaint is still pending, which prompted UMG to take action. UMG wants the petition dismissed on the basis of protected free speech based on the Texas Citizens Participation Act. The act protects from retaliatory lawsuits that seek to intimidate or silence them on matters of public concern. The new motion, UMG says that Drake's petition was filed under Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 202, which allows someone involved in a dispute to request disposition to investigate a potential claim before actually filing a suit, in which UMG describes as being designed to intimidate and punish people for exercising their First Amendment rights. The rule of civil procedure is used to enhance a party's litigation success before the actual lawsuit is filed. Interesting. So yeah, that's what we got right now. We got rap beef and lawsuits. I don't think we've ever experienced that before. Let's listen to this. Okay, yep. I mean, that they not like us. That they not like us. That shit do jam though. It's just a jam. It's a jam. And I seen people talking about Serena crip walking, and the fact that her sister was reportedly murdered by crip gang members. Yeesh, yeah. That's not a good look. That's not okay. Don't want to contradict yourself with your messages. Please, let's not promote gang culture. Nothing cool about it. I don't care that you guys can't spin it about nothing about that community, community men in action or whatever. What does crip mean? Let me see. What does it mean? Community Revolutionary Inter-Party Service. Community Reform Inter-Party Service. No. What? Community Revolution in Progress. But, man, you talk to the average crip, man, they had no political organizational meaning. They were just terrorists. Neighborhood terrorists. That's all that is. Okay, let's call it for what it is, the gang culture. It's not no fraternity, it's not no brotherhood. It's a terrorist group. Terrorists against black folks. Anyway, I digress. Let's see what this says here. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance was a moment they couldn't contain. The Super Bowl isn't just a game, it's a pillar of empire. A multi-billion-dollar spectacle. Yes, it is a spectacle designed to manufacture illusion, distraction, and consumption. Absolutely it is. And yet Kendrick's greatness allows something real to slip through the cracks. Oh, man. Hyperbole. Anyone. But, hey, it is unto you as you believe. So if that inspired, if it inspires someone to put together some real type of organization, put together some real revolutionary actions, wonderful. Amen. But Who am I to judge? Just a guy with an opinion. That's all. Heart of Texas Media. See you on the next video. Peace and blessings.